Good morning. Tracy here. This morning I want to talk about the slippery slope. Basically, how victims turn into villains. So first something happens. Something happens to us. It doesn't feel good. It confuses us. It shatters our world in some sort of way. If we're not able to gain help, if we're not able to figure out what's going on or understand that it wasn't us, that it was actually somebody else who has an issue themselves, then it's like we internalize that and it's a slippery slope from there. At that point, we have to remember the pain for the good and not the bad. Because then we go through this loopity-loop where we replay it over and over and over and over. And it's like the older we get, the more we replay it. It's like we somehow harden our heart from it so that we feel that it doesn't hurt us anymore. But what we're doing is we're building this crust on the outside of our heart so that love cannot get in and love cannot get out. So we tend to accept it. This happened to me. I can't believe this bullshit happened to me. Why me? Why me? And then we think that we're dealing with it. But we've really just stuffed it down. Well, it's okay. I mean, it's not that bad. I've dealt with it. I've dealt with it and I've survived it and I've moved on. But we really didn't. We wanted to tell ourselves that we moved on because we suppressed it. We weren't thinking about it every single day. We were only thinking about it periodically or rare. But we were still thinking about it. Then it comes to a point where you see someone else that was in the same position as you. Someone with that spark in their eyes. Someone with that newness that was just like you at that age. And you see something that happens to them that shatters their world just like it shattered your world at that same age. And you say to yourself, before I say what we say to ourselves, this is where this slippery slope really starts to happen. Because you say to yourself, you know what? I went through it. I survived it. It didn't turn out that bad. And look at me. Look at how I turned out. That's the slippery slope. Because you went from being a victim of remembering how it felt and making it your goal to fight that same injustice, or injustices just like that, to other people that did not have a voice, just like you felt like you did not have a voice. Instead of you using that pain for that, you used your pain to turn into a villain. To keep that same cycle going with the next person, and 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 then lying to yourself each and every motherfucking time saying, well, I survived it. And look at me. Look how I turned out. Look at how great I am. It can't be that bad. But it was. And it still is, because it was something that shattered your fucking life. And you're doing it, or you see it being done, and you're not doing anything to stop it from shattering someone else's life. And whether you're doing it or you're not stopping it, you are a villain. You are a vile villain. Because either giving it to someone gives you a false sense of superiority, instead of you recognizing that you're weak, that you are wounded, that one of your wings is broken and you need help because you can't fly with just one wing. But instead you feel like, no, it's okay for me to be a bird that wants to fly, but I just hop around. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set out to make it my mission to break as many other birds' wings as possible so that we can all be stuck on the ground and really not able to defend ourselves if something truly bad comes for us. It's like you get a depressing high. It's like you need more victims to keep that going, to keep it flowing. But at some point, at some time, on some day, in some way, you're going to have to stop and say, you know what? I can no longer be a villain. I was a victim. I recognize that. I've overcome it. I am victorious because of it. And I will fight the fight against it. So watch our slippery slopes in life, and it can be anything. It can be the smallest little thing. It can go from going to the doctor and getting a prescription to being a full-blown, raging prescription addiction. We all know about alcohol. We've all seen the news and seen the stories about drugs. But it can be anything. It doesn't have to stop there. We just have to remember what crushed us, what did not feel good to us, is not meant to keep us as a victim. It's meant to make us victorious, to stop the madness, and to stop the slippery slope.